Wakey, wakey, the Kellogg's football camps are here, all over the country. It's game on. Learn new skills, make new friends, and have loads of fun at your local clubs. Grab your boots for a summer of football at the Kellogg's football camps. Parents, buy a promotional pack of Cocoa Pops, Rice Krispies and cornflakes before the end of June to claim a free day. Welcome to the Football for Kids podcast with me, Darren Rees. I hope that you've enjoyed the Kellogg's Super Week last week. Over the next 5 weeks, there will be 3 episodes every single week, which I plan to release on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays. So make sure that you've hit that follow button so you don't miss a single episode. If you want to add to the very long list of episodes which I need to write, because there'll be lots of them over the next few weeks, then you can ask an adult to send an email to footballforkidspodcast@gmail.com or head to the website www.footballforkidspodcast.com and fill in the contact form. And for all of you patrons out there who have sent me their prediction pages, thank you very much. Please do keep them coming. Before we get into this episode, let's have a look at a couple of them. Douglas McBride believes that England will win the Euros, Cristiano Ronaldo will win the Golden Boot, Eze will score the best goal, and Albania will have the most goals scored against them in the whole tournament. And Alfie also thinks England will win the Euros. He also thinks Ronaldo will win the Golden Boot, but thinks Gula will score the best goal of the tournament and Georgia will have the most goals scored against them overall. Well, you two, and to all the other patrons who have sent in their prediction pages, thank you very much for filling in your patron prediction pages. Ronaldo will probably finish as the top assister at this rate, as he's now the highest assisting player in the history of the Euros. But I've got to say, England have got some work to do. For everyone who is on Patreon and submitted an address and sent that over to me, you should have your Patreon prediction pages and your wall charts by now. If you haven't, they should surely be there in the next few days, because I know that lots of them went to New Zealand, Australia, Canada, America, South Africa and lots of other places. But once you've got them, do fill in those prediction pages and get them sent in to the email address. In this episode, we're going to do a question and answer session, which is something I've been meaning to do for a very long time. But since we've done lots of episodes on players recently, let's do these questions. And the first one has come in from Max. Let's have a listen to his question.
Hi, Darren, this is Max. I would like to ask, if you were to pick any manager to take over Portsmouth, past or present, who would it be?
Oh, that is a good question, Max. And firstly, thank you for your question and thank you for being so patient, as you and the others sent these in ages ago and I haven't had a chance to get the question podcast episode together, but here we are. It's a fabulous question, but what I've got to say to that is the current manager, John Mousinho, is doing such a wonderful job. In his first full proper season, he has won Portsmouth a league and got us promoted to the Championship for the first time in years and years and years. So I am very happy with how things are going with John, who is our manager. If I was going to choose another one, it would have to be the legend that is Harry Redknapp, who managed Portsmouth twice, and in one of those he won us the league and the FA Cup. I also loved his character and the way that he managed the team. I hope that answers your question nicely, Max, and I've got to tell you, that was a brilliant question. As you know, I love Pompey. The next few questions are all written ones, and the first one is from Josh Faulknell in Australia. And Josh actually sent me a few questions, but we'll use one of them. And that one is, who do you think will win the Ballon d'Or this year? And who do you think is the best rising star who will go on to win the Ballon d'Or in the future? Well, Josh, thank you very much for being a listener all the way over there in Australia. And I think there's one name to put to this question, and that is Jude Bellingham. I think Jude Bellingham will win the Ballon d'Or, and I actually think that he will go on to win many, many, many of them over the years. What does everyone else think? If you listen on Spotify, you can respond to the episode on the comments. If you're an Apple Podcast, you could submit a review with your answer. Who do you think will win the Ballon d'Or? And who do you think will be the biggest stars in football, especially the young ones? The next one is from Harry in Barnet. It says, "Hi Darren, I am an Arsenal fan. Who do you think is the best player to have ever worn the Arsenal shirt?" Well, hello Harry, this is a tough one because Arsenal have had so many great players over the years. Patrick Vieira, Bergkamp, Ian Wright, David Seaman, Tony Adams, the list goes on and on and on and on and on. But if I've got to pick one, and I know that I have got to pick one, it would be the absolutely incredible Thierry Henry. 337 games he played for the Gunners, 228 goals. He was absolutely amazing. It wasn't just the appearances and goals though, it was the way that he scored the goals and how he changed the game when the team needed it most. So for me, Thierry Henry is the greatest player to have ever won the Arsenal top. All the best for next season, Harry. I hope that they can do it this time round. The next question is from Amelia, who is in Bury, and Amelia says, "Hi Darren, my favourite episode is the Beth Mead episode when we got to send Beth our questions. What is your favourite episode that you've ever made?" Well, Amelia, that's another absolutely brilliant question, and I'm glad that you enjoyed the episode with Beth, as she was so nice to do the podcast, and her book, which is called Raw, is brilliant, and I can't recommend it for football-loving kids enough. If you ask your adults to have a look on Amazon, they might be able to find it on there. Another one of my absolute favourites, apart from the Beth Mead one, I've got to say, was 1966 and a dog named Pickles, because it was almost like a little audiobook, and that episode gave me the idea around the book which I'm writing called Charlie and the Mystery of the Missing Cup. Thank you, Amelia, yet another fantastic question. The next one is from Alec in Inverness, and Alec says, "Hello Darren, I've been listening to your podcast from the start. I've listened to every single episode at least 10 times, and I'm also a super listener on Patreon, and I've listened to all of those episodes at least 10 times. Well, blimey Alec, you are one dedicated listener, so thank you so much." He then goes on to say, "So, my question is, who do you think is the best Scottish player there's ever been?" Now, Alec, I think that is a tough question, a seriously tough question, because there have been so many amazing players to have come out of Scotland. But I'd have to say it would be the great Kenny Dalglish. Not only was he a legend for Scotland with over 100 appearances, but he was a legend for Liverpool and Celtic too. But not only was he a legendary player, but a legendary manager who won the league and trophies with the likes of Liverpool and done stuff with Blackburn, and from memory, I'm pretty sure he did something when he was the interim manager of Celtic. He is a proper legend of Scottish football and someone we must do an episode on in the not so distant future. The very last question for this episode comes from Pislo in Colombia, and he says, "Darren, I love your podcast and I listen to it with my friends in Santa Marta." Hopefully I've said that right. "We all love football and we've learnt lots from your podcast. I wanted to ask, if you could go anywhere in the world to watch football, where would it be and why would you want to go?" Well, Pislo, it's great to know that we've got listeners all the way out there in Colombia, and once again, thank you for such a good question. I would love to go and watch football in South America, in the likes of Colombia, Chile, Argentina, Brazil, Uruguay, Venezuela, Peru, and pretty much everywhere else in South America. I know how passionate the fans are in that part of the world, and who knows, maybe I'll be able to bring the podcast there one day. Well, thank you very much to every single one of you who submitted their questions. There were lots and lots and lots of them, and they were all very good. If your question didn't make it onto this episode, don't you worry. It wasn't because it wasn't a good question, it's simply because there isn't enough time to do all of them. Otherwise, the episode would be about 1,000 hours long. But before we go, I always give away a skills ball for these episodes and for my favourite question. Now, like I said, they were all absolutely brilliant, and it is a seriously tough one for me to choose. But the question I'm going to choose for this episode to win a skills ball is the very first question of the episode from Max. So well done to you, Max. Please ask an adult to send your address to me via email, and I'll send you a skills ball in the next couple of weeks. So, remember, if you know someone who loves football just as much as you do, then please tell them about Football for Kids. And whether you're playing football soon, watching it on the telly, or pitch side, I hope that you enjoy the game. See you next time. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. And remember that Kellogg's have amazing football camps taking place throughout the school summer holidays all across the country. In fact, they're in 73 different locations across the UK. The camps are for 5 to 15-year-olds and are in partnership with the EFL, Manchester City, Celtic and Rangers with FA approved coaches. To sign up today, grab a promotional pack of Kellogg's cereal, find the camp code and redeem a free place at www.kellogg'sfc.com. Terms and conditions apply.